Hey, today I want to talk about the 2021 Mortal Kombat reboot film. Now, I'm going to be honest, and I've never been a big Mortal Kombat fan. I haven't actually played that much game. I think I played some in like 2000 and 2001 when I was like a little kid, and I was like in Windows 95 or 97. That's when I actually played this game, so it was in a very crummy situation. And through that, I have found that Mortal Kombat has grown into its own thing, where Mortal Kombat has a certain vibe, where certain things are actually pedal to the clients of what the actually players like, and that's how Mortal Kombat has built its reputation. Now, I guess the only thing that I watched in preparation of this film was that YouTube clip where they have like all the fatalities, where every kind of violent, gruesome thing imaginable has been done. Some are comic, some are serious, some are grotesque, some are just straight up savage. So that was my preparation, and I wanted to see this film. Now, right off the bat, this film is extremely average. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's a coherent film. Actually, the bar is just so low. We have come to expect way worse game-related films in our life. So when something even barely coherent comes along, you feel like that's a win, and I think this is a win in that sense. Now, this is not actually Mortal Kombat. This is sort of a pre-Mortal Kombat where none of the Mortal Kombat tournament things happen. So beware of that if you want to watch this film. If you are watching for just a murder, gore, and gruesome, there are some of it, but I wouldn't say enough. But that's also a balancing act, because if you use too much gore, then it can become a burden, and sometimes it becomes like too much on the film. So in that way, there's actually a balancing act, and I think this is in a little downside. I think they could have gone for a little more gore and blood. And besides than that, there's good character introductions. There are good things about this film, like how the characters interact with each other, how they are like trying to cope up with the situation, because this is not a kind of film that you analyze, because if you analyze it just falls apart, because this is a very stupid and very dumb premise, unlike many of the blockbuster films. So there's also that, but this is particularly weird. So I've always said it, I think the only good way to do a Mortal Kombat film that's gonna get the most amount of people in his camp, like if you want to get most of the people involved and you just want to get critical acclaims, or you want to get noticed by everybody, it is only can be done through the battle royale genre, where like all the players are just thrown into a planet or an island, and then they're just fighting each other, and just one kills another, and in that way, in like a more like a Hunger Games film, where everybody comes together and then last you have fight and then one guy stands, because that's basically what the film is. But I don't think they're going for that. They want to go for much more traditional things, and I think that's good, because they are trying to give characters background. They're trying to give characters heart. There's family. There's some drama that they want to keep, and there's talk about legacies and bloodlines and stuff like that. You know, the typical films that usually engages an audience, or especially American audience, into a blockbuster film. So in that way, I think this film is extremely serviceable and extremely fine. I think I would have liked, just like Godzilla vs. Kong, if the other melodrama and things setups were a little toned down, and the fights and the fatalities were even a little extreme, at least in some cases, it would have been good. But I think enough people will like this film, and enough people will watch this film, and I definitely intend to see the sequel. So that's, I think, says a lot about how much I like this film, because I think I'm ready for the sequels, one or two that comes along, unless it falls apart in the middle. But if it goes on, I think I'm in for the ride, and I think I'm hoping for a sequel, and I think they want to make like 4 or 5 of it. So I think I'm there for the ride. They just have to do things right and get those things balanced, and in that way, I think audience will engage. So if you are a fan of Mortal Kombat, or if you like tentpole blockbuster films, because now in this era where so many things are so little, we don't get that much of films, I think these kind of films are crucial to have our just, mind numbing, just you want to have fun and don't want to think about it. In that way, I think this film is good. I give this film 2 out of 5. So that is a low rating, but I think you can watch this film if you have nothing else going on.